And we plan to develop a new memorandum of understanding, MOU, between the college and the foundation. It's been, I don't know, 3 or 4 years since we've freshened that up, and there's a lot of changes and opportunities for collaboration and support between the two organizations. Work in support of the college in the creation of an alumni program, and we've had conversations with President Oakley and Vice President Luann Bynum to talk about that and how we collaborate on that as well. That's the update. I knew Jenny and Jeff were going to get on my case if I didn't keep it to a few short minutes, so hopefully that's short enough. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions?
I have a question, President.
Trustee Zia.
Thank you, Barry. You did a great job. This is fantastic. I'm excited to get this update and looking forward to more. I wanted to just see, how was this strategic plan developed? Who developed it, the report?
We had a consultant that provided, outside consultant that was selected from several that was done through the, selected through the nonprofit partnership in Long Beach here. Pardon?
Who were they?
You remember, Jenny, their name? They're a very good group.
This is terrible. I can't remember.
I can't either. I'm sorry.
It was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, they were very good. It was a team of two. They worked with the board members, with a couple of the trustees, or at least one. Jeff Kellogg was one of those on that committee, and Jennifer Baxter. Jennifer, that's not right.
And there were
Jenny.
people, Councilman Al Austin, so people from the community, people from on campus, both the faculty and classified. So we tried to reach out, I think 30 people were involved.
Yeah, it was very robust, and we reached out to all the constituency. We talked to faculty members. We talked to a variety of folks to figure out how we could better handle this. Obviously, administrative staff with the college was involved in that as well.
And I believe, Rose, you have the answer to that question. Oh, yeah, okay. And I wanted to just put it out there. What are some of the things that we can do further to support the foundation as trustees, besides showing up and coming to the amazing events that is put together and the great effort? What can we do more of?
Well, I think just having a continual dialogue between the various entities within the college, within the trustees, and with the administrative staff. I think I've been involved in this for going on 13 years now. I've seen really positive strides in having that collaboration. For example, Greg sits on our executive committee. Irma sits on our executive committee as well. I find it very helpful. We meet with Alicia, over scholarships and that sort of thing. We have staff talking with us and helping us on our audits and on a variety of situations. So I think we've got a great a great opportunity here to collaborate with the college. There will be other things as this program gets more fully robust. I think we'll have a better feeling of it. We're probably a third of the way through what we want to get done, and we will be coming back to you to ask for help, I'm sure.
And as far as the alumni database is concerned, is there something that would help you from our standpoint, perhaps reaching out to our constituents to get a gauge of who is an alumni, or do you have other mechanisms in which you want us to support?
We do have mechanisms. I think
If I-
Jenny is developing some right now, as a
If I
matter of
can
fact.
respond for a second, Gary. This is a situation almost every community college experiences, in that we literally have 1 million Long Beach City College alumni. You can't keep track of 1 million people. It's not financially possible. And so anybody who is an alum, if they could let us know, let any of the board members know if you're a constituent, so that we can add you to our database. That is one of the most positive things, is, trying to get as many people as possible. One other thing that you mentioned was, what can you do as trustees? I'm going to give a shout out to my predecessor, Tom Clark, because he introduced us to Charles and Jean Lane. And I didn't know who they were, but Charles went to Long Beach City College in the 1930s, and they ended up making, first of all, a living gift of $250,000, but then $1 million endowment upon their death. So anytime you meet people who have money, let us know.
Trustee Kellogg?
And that was really the question, though, about what we can do. And I know it was my pleasure to serve on the Strategic Planning Committee. When Jenny asked me to do that, I wasn't quite sure what she wanted me to do, but because the foundation is very independent. And I've learned more about foundations for city colleges in California during this past year. But the slide that is still up in front of us right now, and that is the key, and a great question of what we as a board can do. This memorandum of understanding between the college and the foundation, that's going to be a significant document that's probably going to come back to this board to ratify. Just so everyone knows, when this young lady right here retires, that will be the end of an era on how that foundation is operated. You don't really understand how foundations really work until you start to dive into it and look at it. We are never going to have a foundation operating like that again. And I say that in a positive way and a negative way. That organization has been put together through volunteers, bubblegum, and string. Not necessarily in that order. And the goal of this board is to support the foundation, which is going to also be a challenge because it is independent. Many foundations are not. They're hand in glove with the college. There is going to be a change on how it has functioned in the past, potentially, because one of these bullets where we talked about for the alumni program, that is something that the college is going to take a significant financial commitment to, is my understanding. Anytime taxpayer dollars are spent now, there has to be some type of checks and balances, and the checks and balances is going to be with the governing board, this board. So we're going to see changes, and so what I would ask the Board of Trustees is be prepared to support that foundation as we move into the next generation. There are going to be problems, there's going to be some challenges, because you're not going to be able to hire somebody part-time to do it full-time, to do all the things that Jenny has done. So we as a governing body are going to have to step up if we want this foundation to do more in the future, and that traditionally is a financial commitment. Therefore, the memorandum of understanding between the college and the foundation is going to be something different than we've had before. The alumni program that is going to be essentially funded under the college is going to have to find a way to be connected to the foundation, which is also a challenge. And then the one about increased full-time staff. We were at a conference and we were putting together the numbers. The average number of foundations similar to Long Beach City College, I think the number they threw out was 7. We've been operating, and you have to add up part-timers to come up with 2 or whatever it was, 3. So it really is going to be different, and so the reason why this presentation is critical is to let this governing board know that what's coming in the future is a financial commitment to step up and to support this foundation as we go into the future and do the things we want this foundation to do. The one thing I have learned is the foundations have become more important to colleges in so many ways that we are going to have to do things somewhat differently to help the foundation grow and expand. Not to say that it's been an amazing foundation, it's viewed as one of the best foundations in the state of California, but just the role of the foundations for community colleges has changed, and with that goes a lot of other challenges. So I was pleased with in the strategic plan, there was a succession plan, because even that is going to be, and it's taking place right now. And so a lot of differences are going to happen, but at the end of the day, as Barry mentioned, he will be back. But when he comes back, he's going to be potentially asking for funding from this board to help the foundation move forward and to create a new foundation for the future of this college. You should be excited about that, but at the same time, I think I've said in our meetings, expect some failures, because you have somebody who's coming in replacing someone who's been doing it for a very long time and knows what's under every rock and in every closet in this city. That's going to be a challenge for that individual, but at the same time, the structure is probably going to change as well. So my thanks to everyone that put the time and effort into it. It's exciting, but it is going to require that for us as governing board to potentially be more proactive, involved in it, and not just sitting there and we go to the events where they honor so many people, the $1 million or 1.5, I'm sorry. That's phenomenal for the amount of scholarships they're given to students. We're going to have to be much more active in it in the future potentially, and I think we should all look forward to that and be very, very respectful and thankful what we've had in the past and realize that the future there's going to be some changes, but hopefully those changes are to make it even better. And so Barry, great job on all that. I know my function is completed, so as you all go through
And
the
I thank
succession-
you for that. You had great advice along the way.
Yeah, I as I said, I appreciate it. I learned more about the foundation. I just knew it was doing a great job, but so everyone should be very excited about that, and we look forward to the future of this foundation. So good job to everyone that was involved.
Thank you, Barry, very much for your presentation. This is an informational item, and so there's no action to be taken at this time. We will move on to agenda item 3.2, safety and security presentation. And who's going to make this presentation?
So let me begin by prefacing the presentation. We've had a number of discussions at recent board meetings about safety and security at Long Beach City College. And most recently, there were some questions raised during the public comment section about the safety and security of faculty, about recent mental health issues with some students. So we thought we'd bring a comprehensive report to the board so that we have an opportunity to discuss all elements of safety and security as they've been pointed out over the last couple of board meetings, and give you an idea of what work is being done, what issues that we are looking at to begin work on, and what does the future look like here at Long Beach City College. And to remind us that there are a lot of people working very hard to ensure the safety and security of all faculty, staff, students in our community. So I want to turn it over to Vice President Gable to introduce her team and get the presentation started.
Thank you, President Oakley. And yes, I guess I will claim Alicia as my team as well. But tonight we have with us Ms. Margie Padron, who's our Director of Business Support Services, who directly oversees all of our safety and security amongst everything else. We have Alicia Kraizinga, who is our Interim Dean of Student Affairs. We have Mr. Brendan Hayes with us, who is our Environmental Health and Safety Manager, although I don't believe Brendan's going to be speaking, but he is here for moral support. And then also we have Lieutenant Darren Davenport, who is going to be presenting to us what LBPD does for us. So I'll turn it over to Margie to start the presentation.
Thank you. As Anne Marie said, I'm Margie Padron. I'm the Director of Business Support Services. And here with my colleagues, we're here to talk about the safety and security of our campuses. I'm going to tell you a little bit, along with my colleagues, about the security in Long Beach Police Department, our collaboration and coordination with Student Support Services and the Behavior Intervention Team. We also have some other emergency and safety committee and teams, and our communications program in the event of an emergency. We have things that are in the works coming up, and we'll go over those, as well as the trainings and workshops and seminars that we've provided over the past year and what we plan to offer next year. So as you are very familiar with, our coverage for security is provided by the Long Beach Police Department. They give us 24/7 coverage. We have a dedicated unit. It's comprised of 1 lieutenant, 4 police officers, 13 special service officers, 1 public safety dispatcher that's located at the city's communication center, and we can get additional personnel as we need it for large events. I was at this time going to go into introducing Lieutenant Davenport, but since that's already been done, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him, and he can talk about Long Beach PD's role and response.
Well, good evening. I'm excited to be here, and I thank you for having me, and I look forward to working with everyone here on both campuses. So what I'd like to talk about just for a few minutes is our department's role in response to issues in and around the campus, and highlight several things regarding how we're preparing and some of the resources you're likely to see in the event of a response to either campus. So our overarching response and responsibilities to the campus is to provide public safety, security, and protection of life and property on both campuses, as well as the Child Development Center. In terms of responding to emergencies on campus, general emergencies, our first responders will be members of our public safety team, which respond to events that are reported on either campus. When our first responders arrive on scene, they'll determine if an emergency actually exists and coordinate and delegate the appropriate resources to respond. With the media, it seems the dominating news story is active shooters. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about our preparation and what we've been doing in response to active shooters here in the department. As a department, we've been dealing with active shooter events and training for them for over 15 years. We've held approximately 20 actual on-scene scenarios at schools throughout the city of Long Beach in K through 12, as well as the PCC and LAC campus. This is something that we take very seriously and is part of our regular training regime. In terms of active shooters, we're also looking at the added threat of homeland security, and in light of San Bernardino, this is along the same lines we've been training, in addition to dealing with individuals who have a different or extreme mindset. So this is something we've been training with and through the department for the last several years. So our training is fairly rigorous, and it's ongoing. Some of the resources you're likely to see obviously will depend on the type of emergency on campus, but in situations such as a higher priority incident, the first thing you're likely to see is one of our police helicopters and or one of our K-9 units on scene. In terms of a tactical event, we've got a very fine SWAT team, and that may be a resource you may see utilized at a campus should the need arise or necessitate them. We've got an outstanding investigative team, depending on the type of incident, so they will be out here. Another unique program that we have in Long Beach that has gained national recognition is our mental evaluation team. And what we do is we pair up a member of the mental health community with a police officer, and they actually roll out on the field to calls of individuals that are in need of mental care. So we provide a unique perspective in both the law enforcement and the help aspect for members of the community, as well as the colleges. In my short time here, we've already utilized that team on several occasions. Additional resources, we've got search and rescue. They're a dynamic group of kids that volunteer their time and could provide a variety of functions to both our department and our community. Depending on the event, there's a number of outside resources we may rely on. We've got the FBI, we've got Department of Homeland Security, we've got the FAA. We work very close with the Long Beach Fire Department, and we frequently work together and train together on events in and around the city. Should an event be of such size that we need mutual aid, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department would be our first resource that we would draw from. So that's just kind of a quick snapshot on our response to events in and around the campus. And I would like to turn it over to our interim Dean of Student Affairs, Alicia Kreizenga.
Okay, mental health services available to our students. Currently, we have one part-time mental health clinician who serves both campuses, and we are in the process of making this position permanent and full-time. We are working with our local universities to provide additional graduate interns to help support our mental health clinicians, and we're also working with students who are interested in starting an Active Minds chapter, which helps reduce the stigma associated with mental illness. Office of Student Conduct. This office receives reports from faculty, students, staff, and police regarding students in violation of the Student Code of Conduct. Once a report is made, an investigation is started, and sanctions may be imposed. Sanctions range from warnings to expulsion. In some cases, students must receive a mental health clearance before returning to class. Our goal with all discipline cases is to ensure that due process is completed and, where possible, allow students to be able to continue towards completion of their educational goal. If the Office of Student Conduct or the police consider the situation to be a potential threat, the Behavior Intervention Team will be contacted. The Behavioral Intervention Team is a team comprised of 10 members from Student Support Services, Business Support Services, and Human Resources. The team's objective is to assess situations that pose a potential risk of harm and recommend a course of action. This team only responds to individual cases and deals with highly confidential and sensitive information. And these are the 10 members of the BIT.
Alicia, can I stop you for a second? Because this is an item that's been brought up several times over the last couple of months. Can you walk us through a recent scenario where you actually had to engage with the behavioral intervention team, and how does that work?
Sure. So a couple weeks ago, we had a student who had been on our radar for a while, for a few months. It started out as more innocent things, nothing of big warning. It started to escalate, and it did cause concern as he increased his aggression. He increased his frequency of contacting certain people. So we then called a meeting, an emergency meeting of the BIT, and all these individuals were able to attend, review the case, review the complete file from, he's been a student here for 3 years, so the complete file, and then we were able to decide on a course of action. And at that time, the course of action was suspension, and we contacted the parties that we needed to contact. The areas that this person frequent, we called the police and made sure that they were in that area, and just making sure that they would be in and around for the next few days that the student might be entering these programs and these centers.
So in addition to the behavior intervention team, we have a couple of other committees and teams. We have an emergency preparedness and safety committee. We have emergency operations team, building emergency coordinators, and community emergency response team. So the emergency preparedness and safety committee meets quarterly, and it's comprised of faculty, classified, and management team members. They discuss and make recommendations regarding safety concerns, drills, and inspections, and they review the crime statistics. As you can see from the list of members here, we have we try to include people from all areas of the campus, including DSPS, facilities, classified, faculty. So we have a good group there. Our emergency response teams. So we have an emergency operation team that consists of district administrators from key areas of the district. They're trained in federal and state guidelines for emergency management. We use the NIMS model. A subset to that is the building emergency coordinators. So we maintain a list of coordinators. These are employees that have volunteered for this position, and we have one for each floor of each building within the district. They are the liaison between the command post or the emergency operations team. They would assist, say, in evacuation of a building and letting the command post know that everybody was out of the building. We have 31 at PCC and 61 at LAC. We also have a community emergency response team. These individuals have been trained to provide assistance to victims at a disaster site and support first responders. This is a specialized training. They could do search and rescue, they could do triage, they could do first aid. We have 25 CERT trained members in our college community. On our emergency management organization chart, as you see here, for our emergency operations team, as I mentioned before, we use the NIMS model. So our emergency operations manager there at the top, our primary manager is Anne-Marie Gable. But if she is not available, then any person that's listed underneath her name would step in. So we have redundancy in our program. The emergency operation manager operates as an incident commander. The support staff would be our public information officer, that would be John Pope or Stacy Toda, and the site liaison that would coordinate with supporting agencies would be Brendan Hayes or myself. As part of the model, we have an operations officer. That person would do things such as if we needed to evacuate a building, they would commence that operations. If we needed to cordon off a parking lot, they would handle that. We needed to set up a field command post, they would do that. Then we have a planning and intelligence officer, and that person is responsible for gathering all of the information or pertinent data for the incident. They would look and see what resources might be needed, what other things that they can gather as far as information. Then our resources and logistics officer would take that information and obtain any resources or services we need if an incident should take place. And then finally, we have a finance and administration officer. So if we had an incident that would require either reimbursement from our insurance company or a FEMA, these people would be the ones that would be responsible for tracking all of the expenses, any personnel records, hours, anything like that. So we do have an emergency notification program. In case of an emergency, notifications would be sent out either to students and to faculty and staff. To students, we use the Blackboard Connect email and text messages. For faculty and staff, they would receive a district email and a text message. The notification would communicate the nature of the emergency, give any specific direction, and give a status of the situation. We've developed templates for a variety of situations so that we can enact these quickly and just drop in the pertinent information. Also, if there was an incident, we would be updating the LBCC website as the hub for public information. And if there's time within an incident, they would also use the social media and the Facebook and Twitter accounts to give out information. If necessary, they would conduct news conferences, press releases, and interviews. And again, this would all be handled by John Pope and Stacy Toda's office. So things to come. Currently underway, we have a security camera project in design. The coverage will include all exterior areas, parking lots, building entrances, exits, exterior restroom doorways, and heavy traffic areas. We're also in the process of doing a telephone upgrade where we install phones in all classrooms. That's underway and expected to be completed by summer of 2016. Once that's done, we'll implement a broadcast software for all phones so that we can then broadcast an emergency notification or announcement over the phones. Then we'll also implement the E911 feature, providing a location of a caller to the 911 dispatcher. Currently, if a caller calls from a desk phone or a landline on the LAC campus, the dispatcher is going to see that it's coming from 4901 East Carson. With this new software, it'll tell them what building the caller is calling from, so it'll provide more information and quicker response. Our emergency operation plan currently is housed in binders for each of the emergency operation team, as well on our servers and on computers in our emergency operation center. But what we're moving to and working on right now is a School Dude cell phone application where we can download the emergency operation plan right onto the team member's phone. It doesn't require a cell signal to access it. It works more as a memory. Doors. We've updated our district standards, so areas with 5 or more occupants will have lockdown capability for all new buildings. And we've just finished an assessment of the ability to change out all existing door hardware. So training, seminars, and workshops. Of course, the best preparation is to be trained and to be thinking about it all the time. So we've provided several training seminars and workshops, both to students and faculty and staff. I don't want to go through all of them here. They're listed. Perhaps the one highlight was we did have a special agent, a FBI special agent, come out in November and do a 2-hour block of instruction on behavior indicators of an active shooter and a threat management strategy. And that was very well attended, and we are working on getting him to come back out in the spring. We do have developed over the last year general emergency response training that we are providing at both campuses each semester. We've done that 3 times, and with the last, we got some great response to our surveys asking to include some tabletop exercises, which we will do. We also participate in all the new hire orientations. And as an additional item, we have active shooter online training through our Safe Colleges, which is available to any faculty or staff member. Student Support Services also offers many workshops regarding mental health, responding to difficult students, preventing sexual violence. They're offering these at a variety of times throughout the day and through several months. So during the lunch hour, in the evening, to make it most accessible for faculty members.